By the time I got to business school, I had a vague understanding of what I was good at. But when I got to business school, the first message that I got back from my fellow Harvard Business School students was I had no aptitudes. They were as mystified as I was about how this former crime reporter from the Miami Herald had landed at Harvard Business School. They were all previously had been investment bankers, they had all been consultants, they knew how to do sensitivity analysis, they knew what a credit default swap was. So then school started, and I started to have to take classes like economics and finance. Then, the middle of my first semester, I got called from the academic advising office, and they asked me if I would tutor economics and finance to other students. And I was like, I think you've got the wrong number. I mean, I honestly said something like that. You're calling the wrong person. And they were like, no, you've been recommended by your professors in managerial economics and finance. Unbeknownst to me, it never dawned on me I could be good at math. And I realized really soon, because the data was so obvious to me, that I had some kind of crazy aptitude for finance. By my second semester, second year, I was in an extremely advanced finance class. And it was me and 89 guys. These are all people who are going back to Goldman Sachs. They're all going back to JP Morgan. They're all going back to their banking jobs. I am like, I'm glad I'm in here. And as the semester went on, I thought, I'm killing this class. I kept my paces. I asked great questions. I got up at the board and solved a lot of equations. And then we were approaching the last day of class. I thought I was going to be cold called, just had that tingly feeling. So the next day I go in and I still have that spidey feeling I'm going to get cold called. And he says, okay, Suzanne, will you open the case? And for the next 20 minutes, I solved the case. And at the very end, I said, and so therefore the solution is, and it was a number, it was like 16. The solution is 16. And he wrote it down on the board and he circled it like 12 times and he smiled and he looked at me with like joy on his face. And there's kind of this dead silence in the room. And I hear like this rustling. I hear this kind of, I don't know, kerfuffle. I look up in the back row and there's a whole group of finance bros up there sort of elbowing each other and laughing and talking and kind of like muttering to each other. And finally, one of them, Tom, let's call him, raises his hand. And Tom says, he goes, well, I want to say I agree with everything that Suzanne's husband just said. Honest to God, I felt like I've been kicked in the stomach. It took me for a moment to process it. It was like, wait, did he just suggest that Eric did this? And I knew that if I said, but Eric's out of town, Eric's in Minnesota, like I'd sound like I wasn't one of the boys, like I couldn't take a joke. But I knew that I did that homework, and they had the time of their lives. I felt so not known, so disrespected. The person who I'm mad at is me, because I never claimed my own abilities. I was always stunned by my aptitudes. And the thing about your aptitudes is they belong to you and they are the most important data you have. And you, just like your values, have got to state them to the world. It was not easy, but here's my solution. I think I take people by surprise now because I sometimes state my aptitudes openly. Why shouldn't I? That's, they're all gifts anyway. I mean, what you're inborn. I mean, I've worked hard to get better at stuff, but a lot of the stuff I'm good at is because I just got some genes that made me good at it. I mean, look, I want to tell you something. I'm like the worst. I mean, let's just choose one thing I'm terrible at. I'm the worst singer in the world. I've literally been in church singing and have had people ask me to stop singing. Okay. Like one time this guy turned around and he goes, like, we can hear you in this row. I mean, that's how bad my singing is. Okay. At church. So, I mean, like some of my aptitudes, they're just gifts. I got it. I obviously got brain wiring that helps me be good at finance. I mean, I worked hard to get better at it, but your aptitudes, whatever you've got, and you've got aptitudes, it's your job, A, to discover them. Okay. With testing, with asking other people, but I'm going to suggest testing again, and B, by owning them, saying, I'm good at this.